Hey, we're live. It's Friday afternoon here in the ATL. Yeah, slightly afternoon, but you know what time it is. It's time for Small Biz Breakdown. I'm just glad to be here, folks. I'm not really supposed to be here, but I'm glad I am because I got released from jury duty. So, whew. And it gives me an opportunity to do what I like to do every Friday: is talk to some really smart people in John Lawson. Anyway, let's introduce everybody. Leland from Oregon is here. What's up, man?
And it's good to be here. It is a wonderful Friday and ready to do some more extra work on Friday because that's ultimately when you're a small business owner, that's what it comes down to. You work even when it's the weekend.
Wow. All right. We'll keep that in mind. Work. Hey. Now, usually for the last month and a half or so, I think I would usually introduce Ramon Ray, but are you back in your usual? You're still, oh, you're home. Okay. That's good because then we can go right to the not the soul, but the rock and roll something. Home, the home of rock and roll, the home of Magical Medina, the home of Even a Taylor. There she is. I think there she is. Yeah. Hey, we can't hear you. You're muted.
Hi,
There you
all.
go.
I have had the crud for a week, so I will be muting often so you don't have to hear me make disgusting noises with the top portion of my head.
And we appreciate that.
I just appreciate the way you said it. Make disgusting noises with the top part of your head. That's pretty good stuff there. Well, thank you for being here and even dealing with all the crud. We are glad that you're here with us.
I'm happy to be here.
And we're also glad to go to our nation's capital because, things might be happening there. Things are happening even with that. Well, right there. Anyway. But we go to our nation's capital where there's absolutely nothing going on. Not a thing. But Shashi is there. Hey, Shashi.
Hey everyone, glad to see you all. Bright and sunny day here, and the elevators work.
Well, I'm glad it's bright and sunny at least there. We need a lot of sunshine now, a lot of light. All right, now going back to his usual homestead. Is that what they call it? Domicile? Whatever. The capital of something that he likes to brag about. It is the one and only Ramon Ray.
It's the vacation capital of the world, just in case you didn't know. And it's good to be here. Good to see all my friends. Can't wait to get this show started. It's already started. So, Brent, good to see you. Leland, even I hope you feel better. And, of course, upcoming, we know who's upcoming. So that's just that. Good to see you, Shashi.
Good to see you, Roman.
That was quite the build-up for that person.
Yeah.
That was. I guess I'll do the formal announcement for the cold one. Some call him the bold one. Others are starting to really call him the old one. That's kind of harsh, but it is what it is. It is John Colder Ice Lawson.
What's up?
Wasn't that one of them commercial? What are you doing, like 30-year-old commercial where dudes are just saying, ah, because that's exactly what you sounded like.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
little froggish,
Yeah, still getting over my cold.
Oh, you feel cruddy too?
No, I don't feel cruddy, but my voice definitely took a beating.
Okay. I thought it was all that shouting you were doing at the Patti LaBelle and Shaka Khan and Stephanie Mills. And...
Yeah, that too.
Am I missing anyone? Is just those three?
What'd you say?
I said
Gladys
Shaka
Knight.
Khan. Oh, I forgot. How can I forget Gladys?
How you forget Gladys?
I heard she was on the midnight train to Georgia just to get to this thing, So
That we were in Georgia, bro.
well, she had
You
to
don't have to be on a train.
Well, she was
to
out of
get to
town because she was doing her tours, and she was on the midnight damn train to Georgia.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. She was on stage.
What's pretty amazing is I had something I really wanted to talk about, but then Ivana, in her way, she shared a video which I would like to start the show off with because I think it pertains to every small business person in these United States of America. So here it is.
Okay, how are people surviving? How are they doing it? I am the benefits administrator at my small business. I have less than 20 employees. I have 11 enrolled in United Healthcare. So we just got our renewal information. So we have 11 employees that are they just insure themselves. We have one that does them and their spouse. We have 2 that does employee and child, and we have 1, that's me, that enrolls their family. So my family, it consists of my husband, myself, and our 2 young daughters. Okay, currently we pay $1,268 a month in premiums. So what premiums do is it just gets you access to the plan, okay? It's not any of your health insurance costs. We experienced for this year's renewal, so in 1 year we had a 46.53% increase. Now for my family of 4 to have access to their health plan is $1,900 a month. That's $23,000 a year. We're all completely healthy. I don't really do the whole go to the doctor thing. We use it as we truly need it. I've got some real trust issues. But riddle me where the average family is getting $23,000 to pay for their premium. That's not to mention that once they actually have a health event, they have to reach their $5,000 deductible before the plan pays anything. It's so disturbing. So let's say that I had a health event where I broke my arm. I'd be paying the $23,000 in premium, and then I'd have to pay another $5,000, so we're at $28,000 before I receive any assistance from this plan that I paid $23,000 to be a part of. Oh, sure, it does pay for my wellness visits where they'll inject my kids with A, B, and C. So that's great. No thanks. Ridiculous. This, United Healthcare, you should be ashamed. This is embarrassing, and this is not accessible for American families.
All right. There's a lot in that one, but I thought she did the math, and the math is kind of interesting to me, at least. And I hope it's interesting to you. I actually hope it's interesting to a lot of small business folks, because this is coming our way, apparently. So I want to just ask each of you, what do you think about what she said about the increase in her, not just her personal health insurance, but the health insurance that the small business employees are getting through this plan, and how it's going to impact them? And
Hey,
you?
Brent, I'm happy to go first, Brent, only because I have the least to say about it, only because it's just, I have least to say about it. So I think others have more passion on it. But I think for me, it's the cost of doing business. I don't think there's much we can do about rate increases. That's just my things like that. Like, you can't do much when the toll increases, the rate increases, what the government does. There's all kind of, NFIB and other policy people who fight for us in DC. But that's just my take. Things like that. Unfortunately, you're talking to the guy who pays his taxes late, gets fined, get fees. So that's just me. That's why I want others to talk about it, because they probably have more substance. But me, I'm the kind of person, hey, if you take the towels out of the hotel, we're going to charge you. Okay, charge me. And I keep moving. It's just me. But others, please, it's an important issue. Many will impact them. So I'd love to hear what others have to say.
Wah, go vote.
Yeah, it's we don't always get content from very, very specific business owners. And when this ran across my For You page, and it was like, I felt like, wow, this is kind of when we read surveys from small business owners. You know what I mean? When we're talking about small business owners, when we're writing about small business owners, I feel like this is kind of the avatar we're thinking about, right? Here is this person. They've got less than 20 employees. They're paying for healthcare and all the stuff. And this is whatever this person is dealing with. Now, her stuff is more expensive. Later in the video, she goes on to say that she pays half of that cost for her employees. So she's paying for her own family, plus she's paying for her employees. She didn't say what business she was in. We don't know. I don't know what other things are impacting her business. But towards the end of the video that you guys didn't see, you can see, and this is why I love small business owners so much, you can see yes, she's upset about herself, but her mind is with her employees. She's like, this this is untenable for me, but I have to now take this to my employees and say, oh, by the way, if you were paying $400 and some before, now you're going to pay another $200 extra every single month. And if we kind of extrapolate that to what that's going to mean, she has to hold on to employees. These employees need raises. You know, this is like a ripple effect. And we often talk about big economic issues on this panel. And I thought, wow, this is like, it's actually rippling out. She's just talking about healthcare, but and I have another topic I want to talk about later, where now is the time to start evaluating your costs for what's going to be happening. It's planning time for 2026. And this is just one of those examples of how that's impacting her. And Ramon, as much as I love you, and all of you guys, as much as I love you, I too feel, yeah, you got to pay your stuff, right? But like, she's going to have to do something inside her business because costs are going up, right? So she can do one of a couple things. We can cut costs or we can increase revenue. And I'm thinking to myself, now this woman is thinking, what am I going to do to increase revenue to cover some of these costs?
Tag someone.
Oh, tag someone. Okay, Shashi, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the metrics that we see, like all the economists talking about and everything else, probably is very different from what people on the ground are feeling. Costs are going up. They're going up quite a bit. I was just calculating. I mean, other than Ramon, if you wanted to go for a haircut, you have to have a haircut, right? You can't stop that. And that has gone up, I think, almost 80-90%. But that's also because of what you said, Ivan. Their costs also have gone up, like their cost of goods that they're using, insurance and everything has gone up. Now, inflation is when everything goes up, right? The salaries of people haven't gone up. So now the small business owner has to evaluate, like, okay, at what price point do people like Shashi stop having a haircut every 2 months and start having a haircut every 4 months? And probably don't mind, my hair doesn't grow anyway. So that's where, you know, like the economic, it's a tough call to make, right? Where will I lose my customers at which point? Yesterday I went to like a collision center. Owner is happy, lots of people coming and spending. Went to my neighborhood restaurant, nobody's there, right? So, and they raised their prices a couple of months back. So, yeah, what can you do? It's the market will calculate and will say what price you want to pay for something, if that makes sense. Don't know if this was useful or not, but it's hard for small businesses to make a call on expenses. John. Oh, sorry.
Go.
John already went, right? So it's Leland. Okay.
No, John hasn't gone yet, but Leland wants to go, so why don't you go ahead?
So I've been buying my own health insurance for the last 20 years or so. And so I've kind of seen the market, and there's a few things about that video that were a little off. One, she was kind of shaming United Healthcare. The price of healthcare is actually kind of set more by the government through it's kind of similar to the Federal Reserve, to where there's kind of like a little bit of a baseline, and then from there there's slight adjustments. If you've ever gone on the marketplace, you'll see all of the insurance companies are like very, very close in price to what you're actually getting. And from what I've read, it is slightly controlled by the government. And I think that there are some elements to where the health insurance companies can put input into it, but ultimately the final price is kind of set more by the federal government. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's from what I've read. we got this system. She was talking about having, we're healthy families. Why should we be charged this much if we're healthy families? Is, well, we got to go back to the Affordable Health Care Act, where you're no longer charged based off of your health history. It's a flat rate based off of your age and whether you smoke or not. Those are really the only two considerations that go into your pricing. And it did, for the most part, increase a lot of people's health insurance. I know personally, I went from $250 a month for my entire family to $1,100 a month overnight.
What year was that?
That was 2013, 2012, 2013, somewhere around there when it went into effect. I got pictures that I can show you if you want. But they did something where children used to be just a $10 addition. So to my kids, $20 a month. And then all of a sudden they were a separate charge. And so the reason why it went up so much was because instead of $20, it was now $230 each child. And so it shot up really high.
Which are they now?
And there's a lot. What's that?
How much? Your $230 is how much today? Is it still $230 per child?
Oh, it's somewhere. It's gone even more up. I haven't followed it too much.
Why don't we let them finish it, and then John, you
I'm
take
just
it from
trying
there.
to get qualification before,
Yeah.
because it's like, if are we going to go back to 2012 when we're in 2025? And I'm trying to, But
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah,
go for it.
I'm saying there's no big beautiful way to be able to do this, because if you go back to the old system, you're going to have people who have health complications who are going to see a lot larger increase, and so
Or get dropped altogether from their insurance.
or get dropped altogether.
that was one of the
That
big
is, but it's one of those things to where you're either going to raise everyone a little bit or raise certain people a lot. And if you want to call for some government intervention, maybe there's a system in place where we can have backup systems for those people that they can go on Medicaid if their premiums are going to be way too high or something like that. It's not a good system, even when you're coming to government assistance too, because it's like once you hit a certain amount, bam, you're dropped off of government assistance, and then you're picking up a $1,600, $2,000 healthcare bill, and it's just like, but I only made an extra $100 more. I can't now afford $2,000 in health insurance, so it's all screwed up.
John, I think you're the last one.
I'm whatever. Just deal with it, people. You had your chance. Deal with it.
All right. When you say had your chance, are you talking about the voting for the president? Is that what you mean?
No, this has been an issue for many years, and the conversation has always been about we need to have a healthcare system that is government funded, and you don't want one. So if you don't want one, you got what you got. Continue to pay out the nose for it, and that's what we're doing. And the reason why I wanted to make that point about let's not go back to 2012, because if we were paying what we were paying in 2012, we wouldn't be bitching. We're paying twice as much as we were paying in 2012. The healthcare system keeps going up. We've got new tariffs that are going to increase that. We've got a big, beautiful bill that gets started next year. So what we're crying about this year ain't even started about what you're going to feel the next time in 2027.
Well,
but I mean, this is what you want. So
let me step in just a second, because she was talking about the plan that's going to be for the upcoming
26.
Yeah. So, and
26.
that's really being driven by the big, whatever y'all want to call
not.
Big. It is, because that's they're taking money out of the budget for some of those Medicare, Medicaid monies that were actually going to the state. That big, whatever bill actually took some of that money away to make way for tax cuts.
But I'm saying the bulk of it doesn't even start till 27. So yeah, okay,
That's true, but it's they're looking at 26, and it's going to go up even more in 27.
exactly.
But if this current, we don't even have to go back to 2012. What was 2012 was okay? That was the Affordable Care Act, and there was like 40 million people that were uninsured, and because of that program, the number dropped down to 15 million. And yeah, and
that was a piece of trash too.
It
was a piece of trash too.
I don't think there's anything that's going to be nirvana here, folks. But I think one of the things that they were going for is getting more people covered, and also those insurance policies were not the same. Like some were getting insurance, but you gotta like pay for anything if you gotta go into the actual doctor, as opposed to, and you could come up with some kind of sickness and they drop you. And I think part of what was going on was those kind of policies you couldn't do that anymore. So yeah, I think the money.
Other options now too. You know, she didn't talk about this, and this sort of surprised me. My husband works for, I don't know if you'd call it, a medium-sized business. It's a manufacturer, right? So they got people on the plant floor. Maybe they got 50, 70 people, and then they probably got another 20 some people, right? And I think one of the options that we use, because we too are a relatively healthy family, and we always have been, and this is such a nice option. We have something called an HSA. And even as a small business owner, you can use an HSA. We love this.
What are you talking about? The health spending account?
Yes.
Savings
Savings.
Savings. Yeah, that was a national thing. You could.
Yeah, I mean, it's an option, and a lot of plans have that. We, through his plan, have that, and we have been on it for the last 20 some years. And what we've done, there were times, let's say, and they give you like a little credit card and everything. So you could really. It's amazing how much you can buy off of that, off of your HSA savings. Meaning, like, let's say I wear contact lenses, glasses, anything, like a lot of things at the drugstore. Not all of them, obviously, but there are a lot of health things at the drugstore that you can buy off of that account.
Yeah, but I think the benefit for that is that you get a tax. You can use that as like a tax credit. So dollar for that, and you have to spend that. And you have to spend that money. But if your drugs are costing $50 a month this year and you use it for else, that's great. But if it's costing $1,000 instead of $50, the health you get the tax credit, but you still got to spend the money.
Well, yeah, you're going to have to spend the money. But I feel like when she was talking, I'm like, oh, I feel like you, and you didn't even talk about this. What kind of plan is this that you're talking about, right? Because we have an HSA. We invest in our plan while we have income coming. We've actually been paying like out of pocket, right, towards our deductible or whatever, because we want to keep that HSA growing, because it's an investment account and it is growing. And our strategy was, well, you know, if it's not too much, we're just going to pay it out of pocket, whatever the insurance doesn't cover. And then if and when the time comes, as now we're getting older and we get sicker and sicker and need more doctors or whatever the deal is, we will have that money. And then the point I'm trying to make for small businesses is not a policy point. It's a survival point, right? The first point I made was you need to find out ways to make more money. The second point I want to make is after COVID, one of the top 3 things that small business owners were talking to me about is that I would like to get more strategic around my finances. And this is like one of those opportunities to really think of yourself as a small business owner and look at all the different ways that you can save money, that you could be strategic about your money instead of just paying it. Look for solutions. There are also, if you're a solopreneur, there are also something called premium. How is that? There's a name for it. Like
hold on a minute, but how do we just overlook the fact that healthcare goes up on average 18%, and you're like, hey, that's what I'm saying. It's about the cost of healthcare. It's not about where you're spending money. Some people don't even have money to put into those savings.
Well, that's the thing. Trying to put out is that what's going on. What I think you're gonna, and this is, I think this lady who made this video is just a precursor to what's going to happen, because we're kind of used to, unfortunately, we're kind of used to these health insurance premiums going up like 10, 15, 20% a year. That's going to go from 10 to 20 to 40 to 50%. That was kind of the takeaway. And that's part of what was going on with this upcoming potential government shutdown, which is there's one side is trying to extract, take away some of these things that were in the big, beautiful bill, so to speak, because they were taking money away from these programs that allowed like rural people and people that have lower incomes to get credits so that they can actually try to afford to have some health and also try to keep some of these country hospitals alive. And so that's all part of what's going on in that conversation. That's also a part of what's going to be happening at the end of the month, because we are probably going to have a government shutdown, which means everybody's going to lose some of these services. But just sticking to the lady in the video, and they're talking about the 40 to 50% increase in premiums, that portion is mainly being driven by what the big, beautiful bill has put into play, and what now people are saying, well, are we going to have to shut the government down to try to roll back some of these things, or are we just going to have to eat it? And when I say we, I mean like everybody is going to have to have this kind of conversation, because they're going to see their insurance premiums go up, not 15%, but 50, 60. Some people are saying that they might have to have like double the price for their insurance. That's the question. And that's the problem that I think all small businesses are going to have to deal with. But are we still are small businesses looking out for this stuff? Because every survey keeps talking about how positive they think things are. That's the biggest thing I don't understand. How are they getting hit with these and the tariffs? Now we got more tariffs too, in addition to that, in addition to the government shutdown, and yet I still keep hearing about this confidence thing. Maybe you guys can explain it to me, because I don't understand it.
Here's my take on it. I think that this is just the issue of segmentation. There are people who we all know, I know in my family, who've been on government welfare, maybe some of them still are, struggling really, really bad. Really, really bad. Every day they struggled. They struggled for years, and they may always. We have that segment, which you're not talking about HSAs and all this fancy stuff we're doing. You have those who are upper middle class, whatever you want to call it. Could be some of us here. We're blessed people, who are doing okay. We're doing the things. We got some money in the bank, etc. That's one segment, which we're not really thinking of these things. We make some good money, whatever. Then you have the so-called middle class, in my opinion, just how I understand it. Now you're dealing with things. I guess what I'm trying to say, Brent, to your point, is that surveys are surveys, and what type of small business. You had Patrick Bet-David. He just had an event, competing with Grant Cardone's 10X and all these people. Those are roomfuls of people, many of them making some money.
First of all, I have no idea who some of these folks are you talking about.
Point is, Patrick Bet-David is a big influence. My point being is what I'm trying to say is that it depends on what small business you're talking to. Some may be just fine, highly profitable, doing okay, paying well. Some are. So that's what like John said first. That's why I agree with his comment where he went, just deal with it. It's an issue, but like what to do. We just have to grow profitable businesses. That's all we can do.
I want to shout out and say hello to Asa Don Brown, because he's dropping a couple of good, really interesting comments. And I don't think we had a chance to say hello and just welcome, because I don't think we've.
But Brent, can I just say, Brent, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Why? Because we want our Coca-Cola, we want our Pepsi, we want our Fruity Pebbles, we want our high fructose syrup, all of this here. We want our licorice sticks. So meaning it's never going to happen. We're never going to be the optimal healthy people we should be. We all want to put the stuff in our hair, put the deodorants on, all the stuff that some people are saying we shouldn't do. So at the end of the day, it's a vicious circle. The politicians are going to do what they do. Insurance companies do what they do. Our food system is jacked up. Nobody's going to go to the gym and do an hour walk a day. It's not going to happen. We're all just going to die and be screwed up. Simple.
And once again, welcome, Asa. I'm sure that was a powerful welcome for you to join us.
Yeah. Can I just add a thing? Like, I don't know if there's any healthcare system in the world that is like, hey, let's follow this model. Like, everything is very different. But I'd like to divide it into two. One is like healthy families who just need to go to the doctor, versus somebody who unfortunately gets like a life-threatening disease. And what we need to fix first is nobody should go bankrupt because they paid medical bills. That's one, right? Like that's what insurance is supposed to do. Now, profitable companies will always try to save money in some forms. So now they've started a new one, which is predetermination. Like the doctor can't really say, like, I'll give you this treatment, the insurance company has to pay. If lawmakers can protect us from going bankrupt because we got a disease, unfortunately, I think that would be step one. Step two is to Ramon's point, like if you cannot afford to pay health insurance premiums, what do you need to do? I don't have an answer. I'm just saying like this is the way that we should be thinking about it. I guess those are the 2 points I wanted to make.
When it comes to healthcare, I've always heard that there's 3 factors, and you could really only have 2. And there's quality, affordability, and time. How quick it is.
Accessibility.
And accessibility. It's a good way to put it. And the United States is somewhere in the point where they actually don't have all 3. It's like trying to get that middle to where, it's still expensive. It still takes a long time, and the quality is it's decent, but accessibility. And so they're mutually exclusive, because if you have high quality and high accessibility in some way, shape, or form, even if it's government subsidized, it's going to be expensive. If you're going to have really cheap but really timely health insurance, it's going to be crap quality. I guess my thought would be, we pick our poison and we pick 2 of them and then go with it. But
well, before anybody else jumps in, let's just say hello to our favorite. Amber is here. Yep. We love it when Amber joins us.
Hey, Brent, we have a few people on Instagram too.
Well, don't tell me. Tell Ramon.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. Rajneesh, Vinod, Papi, Miss Ray, and Lupalakshmi.
Hey, everybody. And hey, I got a lot of people joining me on TikTok. Hey, Jessica. Hey, Melissa. Hey, Frederica. Hey, Bianca. Hey, Mitch. Hey, Jeff. Hey, Sally. Hey, Barack. Hey, Tiffany. Hey, Ezra.
Barack?
Yeah. I got 4,000 streaming right now on TikTok. Hey, everybody.
Anybody else want to chime in?
I want to say something on what I want to swing it back to small business tips, because as you were talking, Leland, he said something so important, right? You've got quality, accessibility, and cost, right? And that applies to absolutely everything. And the fact, and regardless of what your business is and what you're selling, right? This is how your customers are gauging value. And the fact that so many of us, like, I did not complain about my healthcare costs. It's always been expensive. It's always been unaffordable for me, no matter what wonderful plan I've been on that my company paid for or whatever. I've been on some awesome plans. I work for manufacturers. They have awesome healthcare, right? However, I remember distinctly being able to pick up the phone and get an appointment on demand. Like if I need an appointment, I would get that appointment within the week, sometimes the next day. I mean, it was amazing, right? Quality. I felt like I spent time with the doctor. I felt like they heard me. I felt like all the things, right? So I felt that back in the 80s or so, heck, even when I was pregnant, I felt like in the early 2000s, I felt like there was like this, okay, it's expensive, but to your point, Leland, I felt like I was getting some type of value for the money. And I'd be like, yeah, it's expensive, but, right? I got to see the doctor. I got my test results, or like whatever my issue was, right? I think what we're all seeing now, and I think this is a big valuable lesson no matter what you're selling, right, is now we're seeing we're paying more, but now I can't get an appointment for 3-4 months.
We're paying more for less, right? Less value.
Now when I show up at the ER, I'm not talking to a doctor. Nobody's listening to me. No, Like, you see how those things are chipping away. And my friends, we've all experienced it everywhere. So my tip for small businesses is, we happen to be talking about healthcare, but how is that different from any other product or service? How is that different from what you're selling? And maybe you're unhappy about something, but boy,
Well-
watch those 3 things that Leland talked about, right? Make your product or service accessible. Make sure that you are pricing for quality. Like, watch that balance. That's such an important point. 3 easy things to evaluate.
Yeah, but they don't do that in the healthcare industry. And
Well, they're
like
not doing that anywhere.
no, you're doing it personally for your business, but
Right.
and that is and there are other industries where you feel like they're at least not, tipping the value equation so far against people. Like you were saying, I had a nephew that had to have a procedure. Typically, you remember back in the day when a woman would go in the hospital to give birth, they would be there for a certain amount of time, and they would get a certain number of doctors that were there doing what they do. Now it's like you go in and like the next day they're kicking you out. I mean, so but you're still in the bill is 3 times what it was when you had stayed like 4 or 5 days, and all the value equation is so out of line when it comes to the healthcare. It'll probably
And
never
a lot
get
of big
back.
businesses are also, I mean, we've talked about this before. As I go out, I mean, market research is one of the most important. It's the first step of the marketing process. It's the step that everyone ignores because they think it's expensive and you got to do surveys. No, no, no. Go around and just experience the businesses around you, right? A lot of big companies, a lot of enterprise companies are messing around with this equation. So you don't feel like the customer, you don't feel like you're getting value. So you don't have to be like infinitely better than the other guy. You just got to like find ways to understand what matters to people and deliver on those ways.
Even let me jump back to the health issue. And thank you for that point. I think we should keep pulling that thread about value, because now we're veering off from healthcare, which is great. Let's go there. But I want to go back to healthcare. Brent, you talked about baby. As y'all know, my daughter just had a baby. 4 weeks ago, give or take. And I get your point on that, Brent. But another example opposite of that is, they did take care of her and et cetera, but I'm guessing it was like ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching every minute, meaning I haven't been in a hospital in years. I don't go to doctors and all that. And by God's grace, I'm relatively healthy. So I haven't been in a hospital for myself, maybe in 50 years. I don't remember in ages or ever. But the point is here, as you all know, right? We go to doctors. Hey, would you like this? Would you like that Tylenol? Would you like this thing? Would you like this suture? Not asking, but she had to do it, had a birth. So all the things, hey, we're going to add this towel. Oh, you have to stay an extra day. Oh, we need to add whatever, all the medicine, simple stuff, nothing urgent. It's just, on the other hand, all that, I'm wondering, it wasn't what our great-great-grandmamas did. Like, you birthed the baby, slapped the baby on the butt. 80% of births, I'm guessing, are going to be healthy. That's how God made it. Women,
You are really guessing.
What's that? Oh, okay.
You are really guessing.
I'm guessing. You're right, John. So thank you.
I mean, if you talk to your grandparents and ask them how many people had somebody either die in birth or had a child, it wasn't like it is today. Today, we do slap them out. But back in the day, it was a procedure.
I'm wrong.
My dad was one of 16, and only, I think, 12 made it to adulthood.
Yeah, it was
like that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But beyond that point, thank you, John. So I received that. Thank you. But my point being still, I wonder how much extra is done. I'll put it that way, at least. How much more and more we have to do this, for liability reasons. And, my daughter's husband is there, but no, got to be in a wheelchair and pushed by one of us. I'm like, she ain't going to faint, but no liability. So we got to have the nurse push for things like that. Or
hey, man, that's like
hundreds of dollars.
That was like
down the hallway
trying to do work in New Jersey. I was working at a pharmaceutical place in New Jersey, and they asked us to move. Well, they told us we're going to move from one section to section. I literally was moving from one cubicle across to another cubicle. I'm just going to take my computer. Put that down. I mean, they don't want to, because that's how the unions kind of protect some of the jobs things. So yeah, that's kind of other.
I do want to go back to the young lady.
Yeah.
In the video, couple of things. Group purchasing power. You might want to team up with other small business owners. I don't know if she's a part of the Chamber of Commerce, or other associations. You can look at doing some of those things to help reduce the amount that you have to pay for your workers. There are tax credits, you know, and write-offs if you've got 25 or less people that you employ. Make sure you're taking advantage of all of that. And then every year you need to be shopping the marketplace. You can't just be like, yeah, we use United Healthcare every year. No, you need to be looking at all the options because everything changes and it is a market. And you want to definitely be out there shopping the marketplace.
And
So,
there's also for solopreneurs, I have seen several people, I don't know if it's called premium care. I don't think it's private care. Starts with a P, where there are actually doctors or cohorts of doctors and medical groups who absolutely do not take insurance. What they do is they offer these membership plans, and you could pay like $100 a month or something like that. And look for those options, research those options.
Amazon has one.
Oh, Amazon, right? So I thank you, John, for making that point, because my point wasn't to complain about healthcare. My point was like, holy crap, it's cost review time. We're stepping into October. It's planning time, and you got to be taking a look. You want to be maximizing and reducing.
Let me ask you guys this though. All right, so I agree with everything you said, but I keep going back to this. Oh, everything's great with our business. Everything's. Are those kind of people going to do what you're talking about? Because it feels to me like either they are living in some kind of fantasy world, or they, for some reason, don't consider this to be important to their business. When
you only think about this right now.
That's what I'm saying.
Only think of I'm saying literally in your business,
but it's too late to do anything about
this until it's time to fill out this paperwork.
And that's what I'm saying. It's too late because you can't do anything much about it until you get to a point where you see these 46% increases that she's seeing. So you would think, and I'm just throwing it out there to you guys, why is it this an annual thing when we've so got bought into 15% increases annually, 20% increases? Now it's 40, whatever, 50%. Why isn't that something that we think about regularly as opposed to when we get the bill? Because it's a big expense. I don't understand it.
Next week, let's talk about auto insurance.
Oh my God, that's going to be another one.
That's another one.
That's going to be another one. And you know, I work with an auto insurance broker because I feel like a fleet manager. I manage like 4 vehicles for 2 families. And when I was shopping, like John said, shopping rates and all this stuff, and the woman said, look, you know, this has gone up, this has gone up, this has gone up. Who was saying that? It might have been Leland, who was, these insurance companies, their rates are so negligibly different from each other.
I've had the same experience.
From what I've seen on the marketplace going shopping, it's like a difference of $10 for like a similar plan, you know.
Yeah, you got to put like there's like 8 different components that you have to configure, and I find myself, and then there's like the gold plan. Well, I'm in Georgia, so I forget what they call Access Georgia or something like that. But there are ways. It's like a damn game. I mean, you've got the gold, silver, premium. I mean, the gold, silver, bronze level, and then you got all the little categories in those, and then you got the little features of the categories underneath those particular plans. You almost need to get a damn PhD to really understand what the hell's going on.
It's complicated,
which is completely unfair to the regular person. Because if you're a small business person, do you want to spend your time doing that shit? Excuse my language. Or actually focusing on your core business and how you can move that forward? Because that seems to be, maybe that's why small business don't want to think about this stuff until it hits them in the face. Because if you really try to understand it, it'll take so much time and effort away from your core business that you don't think it's important. So let me ask you, Ramon, because you feel, it looks like you are completely kind of disconnected from dealing with that. You let your wife do that. Is that because your wife is doing that and you don't have to think about it? Is that kind of the setup? So you can just think about the core business, what you want to do, without these other things that are really important to the small business you don't have to think about that because your wife is kind of focused on that stuff.
Yeah, it's two things, Brandon. Thanks for asking. I think it's one of the segments of people who are out of the health care and all those things. In fairness, this is we're a two-person family, right? Segmenting our kids out of the house right now. So as far as the health care thing, which I know is big, that I've been out of historically for much of my life, just to a variety of reasons. So the health care. But yes, you're right. As far as our household and things that people think about, the cost and gas and all that, my wife handles that. So exactly right. Since my wife does, I don't see and feel cost of gas, cost of eggs, and all the things that affect the small business and directly go to their families. So yes.
So you don't come to you, Ramon, and say, Ramon, I want you to get out there, grab another 50K speaking gig because we short.
Well, I do that. Right, correct. That I do that all the time. So I'm dialed in already on what goes out. Would I pay myself? But to your point, and thanks for asking, because it's good. So she never has to say that, because I know what I need to pay myself.
You're always grinding. I've never seen you not grinding.
Correct. But yet, in fairness, I'm not bougie and all that. Like, I don't know costs. I go to stores, but my brain is just, I don't focus on that. Oh, gas was more expensive. If it goes through our personal money flow, credit cards and all that, that's her problem. I don't, we're going to buy butter. We're going to buy eggs. I'm going to get gas. That's not going to happen. So I just deal with it. What am I going to do? Hope that was helpful.
Do you think that's kind of typical? Like, small business people who are saying everything is fine, because they don't want to think or don't have to think about what's going on over here, which could have impact on the business, but it's handled because somebody that they trust is dealing with all that kind of stuff. Is that kind of maybe a typical setup? Because I'm a single person, I deal with it all. So I'm looking at this. I'm like, oh, shoot. All right, then I might have to go find more here. But it's always, all of it is on me.
And my only thought on that, Brendan, I want to hear others, but I think, because again, that's why I think it's segmentation and the type is important. So I do think that's why, and again, let's give the surveys, they're trying to do their best. Let's assume not biased, whatever direction. But I do think there's a number of small business owners do have the attitude, Brent, one of two things. A, it is what it is. So for the household things, Brent, I'm going to take a vacation. Whether I slide my credit card or not and all that, it's going to happen because we have cash flow. So, but then again, you're right. My family, somebody else deals with it, so anyways, somebody else answer that question. But I do think that's where segmentation and who we're asking and the type is important, is what I'm trying to say. I do think that's important.
Well, there's a big difference between being a solopreneur and a small business owner that has employees.
Yeah.
It's when you are only dealing with, you yourself as the business, it's a solo thing, then it's, pretty hands-off-ish. This is our cost. But let's say you've got 5 people that you employ.
That's right.
That changes the dynamics and, your responsibilities.
It does.
So,
I
don't know.
No, you're
I just,
right.
Yeah.
That's why we say small business, John. That's why I go back to, I'm always cautious.
Right.
I don't flex even. Yes, I'm a small business. I've been blessed. I've been successful. But no, I tip my hat to Jenny Craig, who has a $3.7 million business and 4 employees. She has a whole nother viewpoint of things than I do. That's true.
Jenny Craig, the diet?
No, I'm talking. I made up a name.
I'm like, she's got way more money. I'm like,
I made up Jenny, whoever.
All right, this has been really fascinating to me. I want to go like a quick round robin, because I mentioned earlier that the budget is about the window is about to close. They got till I think the end of the month before the government shuts down. A, do you think it's going to shut down? And B, do you think it'll have any significant impact, not just on you, but also to small businesses in general? Whoever wants to take it first.
Okay, so I'll say.
Go, John.
You know what? Honestly, this is just like wah, wah, wah.
I agree.
To me, because it's like every time we hear this government's going to shut down, and it's like, I hate to be so like, who cares? But I just don't feel the pain.
You know who benefits, John?
Look, who?
who benefits is MSNBC, CNN, and Fox. They put all the charts, the countdown clock. The Senate minority leaders meeting in the White House. Look, we have the shot. He's going into it at 11:59.
Yes.
The clock is counting down.
They go overboard with that. But I will say this: here's an impact for us. If you're traveling, if you got to stand in the TSA line and there's no TSA people there, and you're stuck there for 5 hours, or air traffic control folks are.
When does that ever happen?
That's happened to me. Are you kidding me? I know as much as I fly, I'm surprised that hasn't happened to you before.
It's
you get stuck there because they call those folks what they call required or
essential.
I thought they get.
But they still find ways to flex because they ain't getting paid and they're still having to work. And guess what? They ain't happy about that. Do you want to piss off TSA?
Anyway.
Do you want a pissed off TSA worker trying to handle you?
They stay pissed off.
It also depends on the airport, Brent.
Yeah, they get a little bit more pissed off when they ain't getting paid, okay?
It depends on the airport. I got a list of a few, Brent, that I'll give you kind of a code that you can use, and they just let you do it.
Oh, he's got the codes.
I can't tell Shashi, though, because he lives in that certain place we can't mention because the people, the 3-letter acronym here, but everybody else, Shashi can't be part of this.
Shashi, what do you think? I'm calling out. What do you think? Will you feel an impact? Will there be an impact? What?
Yeah, well, how does Washington change?
I think it's a drama. I'll tell you why. Like everybody knows they'll get paid after like whatever happens. It's not like indefinitely, right? And so the check doesn't come like on whatever Tuesday that it's supposed to come.
Yeah, but the bill still comes. The mortgage payment still comes due, right?
Right. So that's the biggest discomfort. And I think it's going to affect people who like don't have any savings to tide over such things, right? But it's sad that our legislator has to resort to this to try to agree on something. Yeah. And the TSA people will be there and they're going to check Ramondre a little bit more because the code went wrong.
Well, they're going to check you, Shashi, because for the last several weeks, you've been saying how much people say, you get reminded of Ramon a lot, So we were in a Zoho event. You were saying as you might have to face that too. Even what do you say about all this?
Oh, I love the idea. Yes, it's just gonna be a story and they're gonna drama it out. Do I think it's gonna close? I have one of two things. I think there's a 50% chance they wait till the very, 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 very last minute, because that's drama. And then they'll, and someone's going to give in and it's going to be the other person's fault, blah, 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 blah. Right. I mean, like, right. Blah, blah, wah, wah, wah. And I'm so upset. This is why we say the government is not a business, because no business owner in their right mind would operate like this, right? We like consistency. We like, all that other kind of stuff. In fact, those poor government employees literally have to behave like entrepreneurs. I think if I worked for the government, I would make sure I had a slush fund of like 3 months cash because they're doing this like every 90 days. So, right. So yeah, I'm back to how does this impact small business? Right. I don't know how many actual small businesses are impacted when the government shuts down and then all those vendors or whoever those people are. I don't know what the statistics are on that. I feel bad for them. Leland.
It's the ultimate game of chicken, and it doesn't matter who's in charge, whether the Democrats have the presidency and the Republicans, whatever. They both do it. They both equally do it. And it's their nuke option to try to get whatever they want through. And ultimately, in the end, for the average small business owner, it will affect them almost none. And maybe a little bit of, what's going on? And, a little anxiety about like what's going on. But their business isn't going to slow down necessarily because government shut down, unless, like even I said, they're a government contractor. But once payments start up, they're going to get paid for the back pay too. And I don't know any statistics on it, but I can't remember a government shutdown going more than like a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I don't think they
And-
typically last too long. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like, yeah, you're not going to get paid immediately, but you know you're going to get the back pay. So as long as you, as even said, got the savings, you could write it out.
So, just quick yes or no. Big deal, yes or no for government shutdown. Shashi,
No.
Ramon,
I say no.
cold one. Leland.
It must be a Tuesday because it's just always happens. Always count on it.
That was a good one. And Madam Mike drop herself.
Oh, it's going to be huge. Chickens will fall out of the sky.
You should have said it's going to be huge, not huge.
Oranges will
Huge.
fall out of the sky and will be drinking juice forever.
All right, this has been a fun one. Eva, did you have? You said you want something you wanted to put out there.
Oh yeah. The last thing. Oh, well, we've been talking about costs and everything, and I'm not getting all the data, but one thing you can absolutely expect is your software prices to go up. I believe the general projection is between like 8 and 12%. Think about it per software. So I'm thinking about my QuickBooks. I'm thinking about your Canva. I'm thinking about your go. And so my point is, take a look at these things. Pay attention. Now is a good time to switch to Zoho One because guess what? Their prices haven't gone up in like forever.
That's
This,
true.
this message was not brought to you by.
Not brought to you. I'm just as a user.
But I want to say something too, Brent.
Sure.
Security, like no matter what your login is, please have two-factor authorization. I mean, you heard about the thing in New York where, the criminals had built like almost 100,000 SIM cards to try to, stop networks. Don't think this is only going to affect big companies. It can affect your laptop. It can affect almost anything. So be careful about security. I think you don't want to be dealing with that instead of your business. And of course, Ramon Ray, contact him for Bitdefender.
I was waiting for that part of that, Josh.
I know, right?
But
All right,
Shashi,
well,
thank you, Shashi. I must say that just to add, just I wouldn't leave Shashi hanging. As y'all know, we go home at night. Click, click. We lock the doors of our house. We leave our cars. Beep, beep. We lock our cars. So make sure that your small business is secure. And as Shashi said, I'm not saying it. Shashi said it. I'm just amplifying what he said. If you go to bitdefender.com/Ramon, bitdefender.com/Ramon, your small business can be secure.
Can they defend your house
dude,
too?
that is a serious commercial.
Can they,
I mean,
defend can they defend your like all the in your household?
They can defend the routers in your
cybersecurity?
house, the routers and computers in your house, yes, but not your faucet or your dryer.
No. I'm just the computery thing.
Yes, absolutely.
the computer thing. I love that. First of all, Ramon, the sound effects are just spot on, man. I really appreciate them. So there. All right. Does anybody have anything to say before we head out? Since we've been all talking quite a bit. Any last
I
thoughts?
think we're good.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you, Instagram audience.
Oh, and thanks, Asa Don Brown, for joining us. I think this is the first time. I don't remember seeing his name, so thank you. And of course, our favorite, Amber. We always are thankful
What's up,
to see Amber in the comment section. So thank you. Thank you all. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Brent.
If it's Friday, it's whatever this is. So come back next week and find out what it is. See you.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.